What's happening, guys? We're back with a brand new video. In today's video we'll be predicting the top 15 of the 2021 AFL Draft. Now if I do sound a little bit different than usual, that's because my mic did break that I usually record all my videos with, so that's why it has been kind of a stop of videos over the past month. But I am actually getting one tomorrow, but I thought it's too late to record this video tomorrow, so I thought I wanted to get it out tonight. So I'm using a horrendous mic. I'm using like an Apple earphone mic, so that's why it sounds absolutely horrendous. But I hope it's not too bad. Hope you can still enjoy this video and hear what I think about the draft. Feel free to drop your top 15 in the comments below and who you guys think will be the best player out of this draft. You know, everyone's going to go with Jason Horne-Francis, but there's a lot of genuine guys. Like, I reckon there's 15 players that I would not be surprised if they were the best player in this draft. So without further ado, let's get into it. So with the first pick, I think that North Melbourne will select Jason Horne-Francis. This guy's been, you know, his main comparison in the draft has been Patrick Dangerfield. That's the type of level they reckon this guy could be on. He absolutely dominated the sample, and that sample is against, you know, mature bodies, which kind of is like, you know, better than playing under 18s like a lot of other prospects in like the Victorian carnivals when they have like the Vic Metro, the Vic Country and stuff like that. He's playing like against genuine AFL players. Like he versed a lot of AFL players during this season. There was a viral clip when he actually did this huge tackle on Darcy Fogarty, who's one of the strongest players in the AFL, and absolutely just destroyed him in a tackle, which is where people thought, geez, this bloke actually is the real deal. And now he's the #1 pick. You know, a lot of people coming into the draft thought it was going to be Nick Dacos, but I feel like Jason Horne-Francis is clearly the best player you know, coming into this draft. So I have to see how that plays out. But I hope North do select this guy, and I think they will. It's almost a guarantee. So I'm actually really excited to see how this guy plays. This guy has Dangerfield, Dustin Martin, stuff like that potential. He had 6 shots on goal and almost had 30 touches in a prelim final in the sample, which just absolutely ridiculous numbers. Now at number 2, I'm going with Sam Darcy, who is going to match the bid from GWS. So GWS will, you know, bid on Sam Darcy, but then Western Bulldogs will match the bid. So he's a father's son. His main comparison was Max King coming in this draft. He's 205 centimeters. He's a huge fella. He is a really skinny guy, like most key forwards coming into this draft. He's shown potential. He kicked 5 goals in a match. I think it was Vic Metro versus Vic Country, and he kicked 5 goals. But apart from that, he had a few quiet matches. So I don't think he's AFL ready. He has the potential to play in the ruck, even the wing, and maybe even key defence. They reckon he's kind of a swingman. So I reckon they might try him in defence at the Western Bulldogs if he doesn't work out as a forward straight away, because they do have a lot of forwards, you know, with Jamara, Norton, Bruce and all that stuff, that they can't really fit him in, and they really don't have that many key defenders, so that might be a good pickup for them. At number 3, I'm going with Josh Gibkiss. Now a lot of people thought that, you know, he was going to go with, you know, later on in the top 10 or potentially top like 5th was his best, but I reckon GWS take him at pick 3 because, you know, they have a few key defenders, you know, around there, but Lockie Keefe was an older type guy who just did get, I think it is ACL. Phil Davis is coming to the end of his career. They do have Nick Haynes, who plays more like a Jake Lever, so he's more of a third tall. Connor Arden, he's kind of not a key defender. He kind of plays on smaller type players, like kind of like a Lockie Plowman. How Lockie Plowman plays on smaller type players. And then you have like Jack Steen, who had a bit of a breakout that final series, and the main one is Sam Taylor. So they compare Sam Taylor with Josh Gibkiss. That's an absolute great pairing. He has great intercept marking ability. His player comparison was actually Jake Lever coming into this draft, which is, you know, Jake Lever is probably one of the best key defenders in the AFL, so he has great potential in him. At pick 4, Collingwood matched a bit of Nick Dacos. So Nick Dacos goes at pick 4 after being touted to be around, you know, the 4th pick. People could be wondering why I've chosen to put him this late, and that is because GWS already said that they are not planning to bid on him, and I don't think he's going to get bidded on at number 1. So number 4 is where Nick Dacos does fall. So Collingwood will bid on him. He's still needs to develop his inside midfield game. He's not that great as an inside midfielder. He showed potential, but he's more of an outside wingman that he played at junior level, which he has a potential. I think he might be like a Sam Walsh, how he kind of starts his career in the wing and then, slowly starts developing into an inside midfielder. So, Nick Dacos probably the biggest name coming out of this draft. Everyone hyped about him. This was the Nick Dacos draft. So it'll have to be, interested to see what happens. At pick 5, Gold Coast do select Finn Callahan, who was predicted to go in near the top 3. Falls at number 5. I just feel like that the reason he didn't go to GWS is because GWS doesn't need any more midfielders, and Finn Callahan's probably not good enough to fully be, select the best player. I feel like Josh Gibcus did deserve to go number 3. Number 5, he fits in. He's, he can play halfback or he can play. He's kind of like a Jordan Dawson type player. Finn Callahan, he has an electric foot. Like he'll probably be one of the best kicks in the draft, if not the best kick in the draft. He's drawn comparisons to like Scott Pendlebury at times, but you do expect him to play maybe off halfback early level and probably develop into, a wingman. He's shown signs that he can be an inside midfielder, but early on in his career he will be an outside midfielder, which kind of fits into their midfield group at Gold Coast. So that's a great pickup by Gold Coast. And number 6, Adelaide do select Josh Rosselli or something like that. So it's a hard name. It's a hard last name to say, but he is the most exciting small forward coming out of the draft this year. He's the most watchable player. He kicks goals for fun, and he's perfect for what they kind of need. They don't really have too many small forwards going around. They have a lot of half forwards type players, and this guy probably can play half forward. They tout him that he could become a midfielder in the future, but Jimmy Rowe's kind of like Adelaide's only real genuine small forward right now, kind of like in their best 22. Expect this guy to come in and fill the role as another small forward and help out, being at the feet of potentially Taylor Walker and Riley Thilthorpe for years to come. At number 7, Hawthorn do select Josh Ward, who, shows comparisons to being a really dynamic midfielder, one of the best, runners probably in this draft. Shown a few comparisons of a Sam Walsh type player with his ability to really spread from the contest, which is something that, the Hawthorn midfield really needs. They have a pretty slow midfield when you take Jager O'Meara out of it. They have James Warple, Tom Mitchell, who, are pretty slow players that sometimes don't look like they can play together. But this guy will be able to spread the ground. He's a really great runner, an endurance runner. Came high in the 2K time trial, and this bloke looks like a genuine, great midfielder for years to come. Consistent midfielder. He probably might play on the wing early days, like a few midfielders coming to this draft, but he does look like he'll be a consistent ball winner for years to come for Hawthorn. And the next player I have is Jai Amos, gets selected at pick 8 by Fremantle. This guy's coming out of Western Australia. He's the best key forward prospect that's not a father-son coming out of this draft. And Fremantle have been dying out for a genuine key forward. Josh Tracy, who they picked up, I think, in the rookie draft last year, and he's come in and played some really good minutes and played, some great football for them, and looks like a real great player for their future. But Matt Taberner is really inconsistent. He's about 28, 29 years old, so they do really need a guy, and I expect this guy to be in their team, for years to come. And maybe take over from Rory Lobb, because I think he either has an injury or something, and plus he doesn't really seem like he wants to be at the club. Requesting a trade to GWS that didn't go through in this off season. So great player, 196 centimeters. He's a big guy. Gonna be a great pickup for Fremantle. At pick 9, I have Richmond selecting Ben Hobbs, who is predicted to go, potentially at pick 5 early days in this draft, but he's dropped a bit in the power rankings. He did average 30 disposals at under 18s level, and he has ability to. I think he was like top 3 in the 2K time trial for this year in the AFL Draft Combine. He's a genuine ball winner, and potentially could be like a Tom Mitchell, but they were looking at during the trade period. But they could just be drafting one. They do need some more midfielders coming through the door. That's why I would select Ben Hobbs. With they do have like Jack Graham coming through and stuff like that. But they do genuinely need some more young midfielders. Trent Cotchin's coming to the end. Dustin Martin, will be starting to play more forward as his career comes along, because he's almost 30 years old. Dusty, but it's a great pickup for them. At pick 10, I have another Western Australia prospect going to a Western Australian team. At pick 10, Fremantle do select Matthew Johnson. This guy was projected to be like a Scott Pennebury type player. Great space where it doesn't look like he has space. Really good composure. 190 centimetres. One of the tallest midfielders in this draft. And seems like a genuine prospect that will be great for Fremantle in years to come. And plus, since he is from Western Australia, they don't have to worry about leaving like Adam Cerra did during this off season. So great for Fremantle pick two guys on the top 10 that are from Western Australia. So they should have him for at least the next 10 years if everything works out for him. At pick 11, I have St Kilda taking Mac Andrews. Now, Mac Andrews is a real interesting one. He has all the potential in the world, but he's not a guaranteed player. He's, a breakout year in his under 18s, level. He wasn't projected to even get drafted. He might have been a later pick in this draft coming into this, year, but he had a brilliant year showing all he has to come. He's 201 centimetres, but he's really skinny. He's only about 70 kilos. He's a real skinny fella. But he has the potential to be one of the best ruckmen in the competition. His tap work is just out of this world. I recommend go and watch some highlights of this man. His tap work is phenomenal. He's a player he plays like is Paddy Ryder, which kind of does make sense when you look at him play. But unlike Paddy Ryder, he's a lot more mobility around the ground. He's almost like if Paddy Ryder and Luke Jackson kind of was a hybrid player, because he has like the follow-up work, like kind of like a Luke Jackson or like a Brodie Grundy type player. He's kind of plays like another midfielder. And when, St Kilda have such a game style that relies on having two ruckmen, this would be great to pair along with, Rowan Marshall when Paddy Ryder does retire. So this would be a great pickup for St Kilda. At number 12, I have Eagles selecting Neil Ermis. Now this guy's 190 centimetres. He's from Western Australia. They've been crying out for midfielders, for genuine young midfielders, Eagles, for a long time. And this seems like a guy that'll be perfect fit. He has shown comparisons to almost like a Scott Pennebury or a David Mundy type player. And with Elliot Yeo and Luke Shuey being really injury-prone players, and Luke Shuey most likely coming to the end of his career, having a guy that is going to be taken in the top 15 of a draft, a young guy to come through, as the West Coast looks like they're, almost head to a rebuild type stage, this is a perfect fit for what they need right now. He's a midfielder they kind of don't have. He has shown a lot of composure, great skills, and has, the ability to hit a target, has the ability to push forward, and he's going to be a perfect fit at West Coast. At number 13, I do have SN taking Nazir Wanganeen Malira. He's the best pure wingman in this draft, has electric skills, electric feet, has some great pace, has the ability to play halfback or the wing, but I feel like he's a perfect wingman, fits into their midfield dynamic perfectly. They don't really have any genuine wingmen. Maybe Nick Cox is their only genuine wingman, but Nick Cox across on Wanganeen will be a perfect mix. They've had to chuck maybe Shield, McGrath, Heppel at times onto the wings, but they're not genuine wingmen. This guy is a genuine wingman and will fit perfectly, with their young team. And having a guy like this who is just a highlight machine every time he has the ball in his hands. He's kind of like almost like a Brad Hill type player where, you look at this guy and you think, give him the ball because this guy will make something happen when he has the ball. So it'll be a perfect to fit into the young future of their midfield, having a genuine wingman like this. At number 14, I do have Port Adelaide selecting Josh Sin. Now, this guy was projected to go near the top 10 early days, but it's kind of fallen out of the top 10. I think he did have an injury going into the draft or something like that. It was only something minor, but he has kind of fallen out of, the top 10 range. So I feel like this guy, he's great for what they kind of need. He's a defender / midfielder, can play either role. Is more of an outside player, but does show glimpses that he will be an outside, an inside midfielder for years to come if he does, put all his years right. But he's perfect, can go along with, Hamish Hartley retiring, having a half-back guy that can come in and fill that role and, fits the mix of like the Georgiadises, the Rosies, the Dersmers, and stuff like that. This is like a perfect guy that can, build into that future with all them players. Number 15, I do have GWS selecting Sam Butler, the brother of Dan Butler. He has shown comparisons to almost like a Zach Butters type player. Can play half forward, can play small forward. Shown glimpses that he can be, an inside midfielder for years to come. Really creative by feet. He's one of the fastest players in this draft. I think he came like top 5 in like the quickness in the AFL Draft combine. So this guy will be perfect to fit in. They don't really have any like genuine small forwards apart from maybe Bobby Hill, who's looking to leave, and Brett Daniels on their list. So this guy will be perfect to come in and fill that role and kind of like go along with Toby Green on that half forward line. So that's my draft. Drop down in the comments what you guys think of mine and drop your top 15 in the comments below. I'm sorry about the mic quality in this video. Don't worry, the next video will be back up to good mic quality. So thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to drop a like and a subscribe, and thanks for watching.